What's up, all you Quantumaniacs? I'm DeQuan Young, and today we present the 10 greatest running backs that weren't drafted in the first round. Don't forget to subscribe to TBS and make sure you hit the bell, turn on our notifications to join the notification squad. And a big shout out to Fork Knife Skins for suggesting this video. It's Fortnite? Fortnite. Now, as you've seen in our videos here at Total Pro Sports, plenty of the NFL's all-time greatest quarterbacks and wide receivers weren't drafted in the first round. But take a long look at the greatest running backs in NFL history, and you'll see the vast majority of them were actually early first-round selections. Just look up the likes of Jim Brown, Walter Payton, Eric Dickerson, Barry Sanders, and Gale Sayers. All were snagged very early in their respective NFL drafts. Now, with that being said, some of the better and more underrated running backs in history wound up being selected after the first round. Heck, some of them actually went undrafted. Did I say heck? Oh my God. The moral of the story here, success in the NFL isn't always based solely on where you're drafted. Plain and simple. But first, a few honorable mentions. Priest Holmes. This undrafted product has quite the story to tell. Holmes won Super Bowl 35 with the Baltimore Ravens and won the 2002 Offensive Player of the Year award. He was also a three-time first-team All-Pro. Roger Craig, the 49th overall pick by the San Francisco 49ers in 1983, was overshadowed by Joe Montana and Jerry Rice. Craig won the 1988 Offensive Player of the Year award and was part of three 49ers Super Bowl championship teams. LEROY Kelly, Jim Brown's understudy in Cleveland, was selected in the 8th round of the 1964 draft. Kelly shined as Brown's successor in the backfield, earning 6 Pro Bowl nods and winning 2 rushing titles. Kelly helped the Browns win the 1964 NFL Championship and is enshrined in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Corey Dillon, the 43rd selection from the 1997 draft, had quite the career with both Cincinnati and New England. A 4-time Pro Bowler, Dillon was an anchor in the Pats Super Bowl 39 championship. Ricky Watters, he was taken with the 45th pick in the 1991 draft. Watters won Super Bowl 29 with San Francisco and earned 5 Pro Bowl selections. He had 10,643 career rushing yards and 78 touchdowns. Now here we go. Number 10, LeSean McCoy. Too early? We don't think so. In an era where running backs are extremely injury prone and tend to run out of gas by their late 20s and early 30s, Shady McCoy has been remarkably consistent over his now decade-long career as a professional. McCoy was drafted in the 2nd round, 53rd overall, by the Philadelphia Eagles in 2009. He's one of the most elusive and flashiest running backs to come around over the past 20 years, as evidenced by those 6 Pro Bowl selections. McCoy hit 1,000 rushing yards in 6 of his first 10 NFL seasons. And had he not missed 4 games in each of the 2012 and 15 seasons, McCoy would have 8 1,000-yard campaigns through his first 10 years. Through the 2018 season, McCoy had 10,606 rushing yards and 69 rushing touchdowns. Nice. If he can keep on going for a couple more years, McCoy will have an easy path to the Hall of Fame, and he'll keep on climbing the list of all-time rushing leaders. Number 9, TIKI Barber. The former New York Giants star only played 10 seasons in the NFL, but he was absolutely worth the number 36 selection in the 1997 draft. Despite playing just 10 seasons, Barber was an absolute force during his decade-long career in the NFL, earning 3 Pro Bowl selections. Barber was often overshadowed by other running backs in his era, namely Hall of Famers in Marshall Faulk, Jerome Bettis, Terrell Davis, and Curtis, my favorite Martin. But Barber was a model of consistency during his time in New York. He registered 6 1,000-yard seasons in his career and helped the Giants reach Super Bowl 35, though they were blown out by the Baltimore Ravens. Barber retired with 10,449 rushing yards and 55 touchdowns. He owns most of the Giants franchise rushing records, but Saquon would probably break those. Barber surprised many when he retired after the 2006 season, explaining his desire to go into the broadcasting booth and noting that football was becoming too much for his body to handle. Barber tried returning to the NFL in 2011, to no avail. But hey, he's still one of the 10 best running backs in NFL history that was not drafted in the first round. So, that's something. Number 8, Joe Perry. Though Perry was listed as a fullback, the guy was pretty much a halfback. The 200-pound workhorse went undrafted and signed with the San Francisco 49ers in 1948, turning down a much more lucrative offer from the Los Angeles Rams. But it worked. What was the offer, like $30 a game? Perry spent almost his entire career with the 49ers, also playing 2 years for the Baltimore Colts. He won rushing titles in 1953 and 1954 and earned Pro Bowl nods 3 times. Perry was nicknamed the Jet, given his incredible set of wheels. Another fact to tell your kids, Perry was the first guy to hit the 1,000 rushing yard mark in back-to-back years. The 49ers icon became the all-time rushing yards leader in 1958. Though Jim Brown would break his record 5 years later, Perry was later inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. Number 7, Jim Taylor. The Green Bay Packers selected Taylor with the 15th overall pick in 1958. Back then, fewer teams meant a shorter first round, so yes, Taylor was a second-round pick. We checked, people. Taylor became a secret weapon in the Bart Starr-led Green Bay offense. Though he was considered a fullback as well, Taylor was also essentially a halfback. He did plenty of damage not only as a runner, but also as a pass catcher. Taylor was part of 4 NFL championship teams in Green Bay and helped them win the inaugural Super Bowl. He won the 1962 NFL MVP award after leading the league in both rushing yards and rushing touchdowns. If it weren't for Jim Brown, Taylor could have won way more individual hardware. He retired as a 5-time Pro Bowler and was named to the 1960s All-Decade Team. And yes, he's enshrined in camp. Number 6, MARION MOTLEY. A quick note here, MARION MOTLEY actually played the fullback position, but many classified him as a running back because he essentially carried out the duties of a running back, given his heavy workload. Did we also mention MARION MOTLEY played linebacker? I want to talk about versatility. His legacy, of course, is mainly on the offensive side of the ball. Motley played at Nevada but never got drafted. He would join the Cleveland Browns for the 1946 season and quickly became one of the NFL's most dynamic players. He led Cleveland to the 1950 NFL Championship, the same year he led the league in rushing yards. Motley was also a 2-time first-team All-Pro and was named to the 1940s All-Decade Team. He's widely credited for overcoming racism and letting his team know it would not be tolerated any longer. That made him a legend and hero both on and off the field. Motley was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in 1968. Number 5, John Henry Johnson. Johnson was drafted 18th overall by the Pittsburgh Steelers in 1953. But at the time, the first round only had 13 selections, so second rounder. Johnson wound up playing for Calgary's CFL team that year instead, but he joined the San Francisco 49ers for the 1954 season. Johnson was both a halfback and fullback, using his 6'2", 210-pound frame to run over defenders. He led the Detroit Lions to the 1957 NFL Championship and was named for a Pro Bowl. Wait, the Lions won a championship? He retired with 6,803 rushing yards and 48 touchdowns, which were extraordinary numbers in those days. In 1987, Johnson was inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame, cementing himself as one of the greatest running backs of all time, and among the greatest not to go in the first round. Number 4, TERRELL Davis. Denver Broncos legendary quarterback John Elway was dubbed as the man who could never win the big one. Turns out Denver's solution to help Elway was the 6th-round draft pick in 1995 by the name of TERRELL Davis. The Georgia product didn't hear his name called until the 196th selection, but man, was he ever worth the wait. Davis was arguably the NFL's best running back during his brief career. He had 2,008 rushing yards and 21 touchdowns in the 1998 season, winning the league MVP. Davis and the Broncos won Super Bowls 32 and 33, and he was named MVP in the former after registering 3 rushing touchdowns. Davis also racked up 2 Offensive Player of the Year awards in 1996 and 1998. Davis was forced to retire after the 2001 season due to a series of knee injuries that cut his career short. His career started in 1995 and only lasted until 2001, but Davis was so dominant that it was enough for him to get inducted into the Hall of Fame in 2017. Number 3, Frank Gore. Frank Gore was selected with the 65th pick by the San Francisco 49ers in the 2005 draft, and he was far from the most hyped up running back prospect that year, but he turned out to be the very best from the class. Gore has been one of the NFL's best do-it-all running backs of the 21st century, and it's ludicrous that there's such a big Hall of Fame debate surrounding him. The man is getting in, folks. Unless voters suddenly decide that they don't like inducting great running backs. No, Gore doesn't have a rushing title or MVP award on his resume, but so what? No running back has been more consistent since he was drafted. He's rushed for over 1,000 yards 9 times and nearly reached the mark again in 3 other years. Through the 2018 season, Gore ranked 4th all-time with 14,748 rushing yards. The 3 guys ahead of him are all in the Hall of Fame. So why wouldn't Gore get in? His 5 Pro Bowls are no joke either. Only Adrian Peterson has come close to dominating for as long as Gore has. And the fact that Gore still produces at such a high level in his mid-30s is nothing short of amazing, considering how many great running backs are out of the league soon as they hit 30. Next up for Frank Gore, Cam. Number 2, Thurman Thomas. With some excellent drafting in the 80s, the Buffalo Bills quickly built up an AFC juggernaut. Jim Kelly was the quarterback, Andre Reed the go-to wide receiver, and then there was the workhorse running back Thurman Thomas, whom the Bills took in the second round, 40th overall in 1988. Teams were worried about Thomas's knee injuries in college, which caused his stock to fall. Needless to say, the Bills' minor gamble paid off big here. Thomas became a centerpiece on the Bills' no-huddle offense, which was virtually unstoppable in its peak. He had one of the most dominant running back seasons ever in 1991, winning both the league MVP and Offensive Player of the Year award. Thomas and the Bills reached 4 straight Super Bowls in the 90s, though they lost every single one of them. Still, he was one of the game's most elusive and dynamic running backs of the 90s, earning 5 Pro Bowl selections. Thurman Thomas finished with 12,074 career rushing yards and 65 touchdowns. And yes, he's in Canton as well. Number 1, Curtis Martin. The New England Patriots drafted Curtis Martin in the 3rd round of the 1995 draft. And with quarterback Drew Bledsoe leading the charge, the Patriots now had a pair of superstars to build the offense around. Martin wasted little time growing into a star, racking up over 1,000 yards in each of his first 3 seasons. He also registered a whopping 32 rushing touchdowns over the 3-year span. The New York Jets offered Martin a contract while he was a restricted free agent. The Pats decided to take the draft pick compensation and let Martin walk. What a move this turned out to be for the Jets. Martin became the backbone of New York's offense and rushed for over 1,000 yards every year from 1998 to 2004, leading Gang Green to the postseason 4 times. Martin retired a 5-time Pro Bowler and 2-time first-team All-Pro. His 14,101 career rushing yards places him 5th all-time. In 2012, Martin was rightfully inducted into the Pro Football Hall of Fame. That's not a bad career for a 3rd-round draft selection, wouldn't you say? Which other great NFL running backs weren't drafted in the 1st round and had stellar careers? Join us in the comments section below. If you like this video and learned a thing or two, clicking the like button helps us out a ton and we truly appreciate it. If this is your first time coming around to TPS though, subscribing is a great idea because we put out videos like this every single day. But as always, thanks for watching and we'll see you guys next time.